Hi everybody, welcome to Racing English. My name is Engberson. Let's get started. Last weekend was the NASCAR Sprint Cup race at Talladega, and Brad Keselowski won a carnage-filled race. I've never seen a NASCAR race which could actually be called a wreck fest, but this one actually was. Out of the 40 cars that were in the race, 35 were involved in an incident of some sort. And in fact, there were three cars that got airborne, and that has raised safety concerns. Some people thinking maybe they should slow down the cars or speed up the cars or try and take the plates off to string the fields out so they're not as close together. And I think the bottom line is they really shouldn't make a drastic change, especially not they should take the plates off, because there's several problems with that. First off, I don't think taking the plates off would break up the fields. It might string it out a little bit, but at the end of the day, it'd still be a line of cars going around the track, maybe not a pack 3 and 4 wide. But at the end of the day, the cars would be going about 250 miles an hour, and they would be much more inclined to get airborne. And also, honestly, that race was really exciting. That's one of the best races I've ever seen. I think the restrictor plate racing is exciting. It's not fun for the drivers, and it's very intense. But I think honestly that they should leave it alone and just keep tweaking all the little bits to make it more safe. I think at the restrictor plate tracks, they definitely need to take out the bottom rows of the grandstands, maybe the bottom 30 to 50 rows, just so in case a car gets airborne, there's no risk of it going through the catch pants and causing a disaster. One of the main things that they need to fix happened twice last weekend in both the Xfinity and the Cup race, with cars spinning out and hitting the wall on the that covers the access road for the safety trucks. That wall is at a very severe angle, so whenever cars spun down and hit it, it was a huge impact. Their concern should be on big hits on the inside, because probably the 3 or 4 major wrecks that actually went down last weekend were because of huge hits on the inside and outside walls where they went in basically head first. I think that needs to be NASCAR's safety priority, not necessarily cars getting airborne. There were several flips, but in those incidents, there weren't any really hard hits. The next race is going to be at Kansas on May 7th. My pick to win is going to be Joey Logano, because he's won 2 of the last 3 races there. And I think it's definitely going to be the place for him to turn his season around. He's winless so far, but it's one of his best tracks, and I think he's going to be the guy to beat. Also last weekend was the NASCAR Xfinity Series. In that race, Elliott Sadler got his first win in 2 years. It was actually his last win came at Talladega as well. It's certainly one of his strongest tracks, and Junior Motorsports has won both races on the plate tracks, so that team's very strong at Daytona and Talladega. And this race brought up some complaints from fans as well, because Joey Logano threw a block coming to the white flag, and Elliott Sadler spun him out at that point, and Joey Logano went into the outside wall head first and then was T-boned. So NASCAR immediately threw the caution, and they didn't get to finish out the race. And also people kind of felt that Brennan Poole got robbed, because he got to the finish line first and took the white flag first. But at the point that when the caution was thrown, Elliott Sadler was the leader of the race. The Xfinity Series is entering an off week, but their next race is going to be at Dover on May 14th. And probably the Xfinity regular beat is going to be Eric Jones. He's been at the top of his game, and Joe Gibbs has still been dominant on all the non-plate tracks. So he's going to be probably the top Xfinity regular. Returning after a long break is going to be the NASCAR Truck Series at Kansas. This race is going to be an opportunity for Clint Bowyer, because it's his first non-cup race in a while, and he's going to be racing for GMS Racing. That team's been very strong as of late, and I think he's going to be the favorite to win at his home track. I think the top Truck Series regular is going to be Matt Crafton. He's been very strong on the mile-and-a-half tracks and won the last race at Kansas. I've received some feedback from viewers, and they recommended that I do a NASCAR podcast and a non-NASCAR podcast. So this video will conclude the NASCAR podcast, and we will also post the podcast about last week's racing that was on road courses. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.